Hello, welcome to the Flow Show. Sarah DiFelice here, and we have
Tim Glover here.
who's going to play us a lovely intro.
Much, much more calm.
Cheers.
That was maybe the calmest intro I've done in ever.
Well, we have been talking about surrender, and you're just welcome back.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome back. As we talked about in the last Flow Show, you weren't here.
Yes, I wasn't here.
Grieving.
My father died.
Your father passed away.
Just 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. He was 87, and so had been on the planet for quite some time, and was struggling. So it wasn't unexpected, but nonetheless, in that whole process, that's also a very emotional piece. So thank you for your thoughts. We've got Tony the bunny, tiny Tony.
One of our audience members named a bunny.
I saw the pictures
dad.
again. The bunny's growing like crazy. It's unbelievable how fast those bunnies.
Born the same day.
My dad died.
Which is just a beautiful, the circle of life. Concept.
Yeah. So the music and everything's a little bit not somber. I don't think, maybe just more back in the pocket. And when we're talking about what did we want to talk about today on the Flow Show, I was thinking, all right, it's really about waking up, and waking up, in my experience, has come in a lot of ways, and a lot of times, through loss, and with my dad leaving. And again, it was a really good thing that he died and he left. He was ready. Every day he was talking about him wanting to leave. So we were doing everything we could to help him, or most of us were. Some were having a hard time letting go. But it's in letting go you start to realize that grief is a very, very physical thing, and it's the one thing we all have in common. We are all going to experience grief, and it's an observation. Just because I'm going through it, I see what's going on with the pandemic, and we're moving through stages here in Canada where we're starting to free up, and we were getting more of our freedom, but in the process, there seems to be more stress. I see emails, and I see like everyone's talking about the increased levels of stress, because I would identify that with the fact that people are having to let go. I had to let go of my father. And I had to let go of all the experiences that we had. And it was a great life. And he did all kinds of amazing things with us. He took us fishing, and he introduced us to music, and we had a band, and he was part of that band, and just all, funny memories. And in letting it go, there's also grief with letting it go. And in not letting it go, I can see other family members experiencing increased levels of anxiety. So it's very similar with the pandemic. And it's also very similar with having to shift gears, which is what I feel we're doing as a species right now. We've talked about the big pivot and the need to let go of the ways that we've actually conducted ourselves in business and capitalism. And it seems to be more and more people are talking about this phenomena and chiming in is maybe not a great word, but they're actually participating with social media in ways that they didn't before, in as much as they're actually sharing with whoever is listening what they're experiencing. And what we're experiencing collectively is pretty similar. We're feeling out there, and up is down, down is up. There is a need to let go, but we're really not sure what to let go of. Let go of needing the idea of to drive into work, to work in an office. So now vast majority of people are working from home, which means that we're going to move more to a digital-based society, which means we're going to have more distance between us than we had before, which in some ways keeps us safe, but also then generates this longing for deeper connection. And communication, 85% of communication takes place not in the words we say, but in the exchange of energy, and the exchange of feelings and sensations, images, thoughts, that it's just what it is to be a human being.
Mm-hmm. And on that note, we're really excited to go to launch with a new, offering for community, which is really around being, because this whole human being thing. There's no handbook. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, Vicky.
There's no handbook about, what to do in the famous word going around, unprecedented times. And really, I think that these times are just amplifying how out of touch we've been with what it really means to be human. And grief, is one thing that is all pervasive. We will all experience it to one degree or another at times in our life. And the interesting thing is, I think that we've never been in a time where most people on the planet are experiencing some form of grief.
Yeah, some sort of loss, all at the same time.
Whether it's a family member or whether it's even a loss of your past identity. And so much of that grief is being able to let go and also being able to look back in the past without a judgment.
Right.
And look back into the past with really, grief is just something that you've loved. So there's nothing to, sometimes we can be really hard on ourselves if it's a past one, like, oh, I should have done this differently. Or if it's ourselves and you think, oh, look at how I've held myself back. Look at all the ways I mistreated myself. And now is our opportunity to really let go of a lot of our mindsets and beliefs and all these ideas, even, stress, like you said, the word stress and anxiety are something that are becoming more prevalent because mental, the world is in such a bit of a chaos, and there's so many people experiencing grief and fear at the same time. And because we really are all connected, we're all sort of feeling and vibing off of one another. So it becomes so valuable, and I think we're redefining what value is, to be able to be amongst that and yet still feel centered and have emotional health and spiritual health. We all understand the importance of physical exercise and physical, exercises to keep ourselves healthy, but how many of us have practices that are to keep our emotional, mental, and spiritual health healthy through significant letting go, and the power in really redefining what human being and what are the mechanics and the exercises of being, even when all of the happenings of life are going on.
Yes, again, it's an opportunity personally to reflect, for me to reflect deeper and just stop, pay attention, discover what matters most, and then recover those aspects of myself that are the most important. And I am finding in watching, just because social media so it's everywhere, and we're in the world of media, and we're in social media, and we're all in this digital realm. And most of the things that I see coming across are all about mental toughness, and let's actually grit through this, and let's use force, and let's push our way through this. And the whole orientation to uncertainty in business certainly is one to avoid it. And if you can't avoid it, then do what you can to control it. And those are all what we call mechanics of doing. And I think it's time we start to look at being, or the mechanics associated with being, and start to consider that we're on this planet hurtling through space at some ridiculous rate of speed. It's spinning. We've never been in the same place twice. This whole environment that is Earth and all of the inhabitants of the Earth it's been happening for a very, very long time. And here we are at this point in history thinking that we can control that. We can't even control our thoughts. We can't even control our feelings. We're just actually part of this big, it's this big connected society, and it's not just society, it's this connection to absolutely everything and everyone. And because of the way business in particular, and that tends to be our playing field, business has taught us through science that there's a bunch of things that you can control. So focus on what you can control. And when people are sitting at home, or they're unemployed, or they can't make a sale happen, or they can't even actually get up out of bed, that orientation really isn't all that helpful. And I think that we've been talking about this prior to the pandemic, we called it the big pivot. This is the big pivot from an old way of having, doing, being to a new way of having, doing, being. And it has been something we focused on together, Sarah and I, for a year. And I got to say, it's fun to be at this stage, and definitely with the death of my father and recognizing myself personally going through those stages of grief, and then helping other people in the family go through that, we as a species are going to go through that. And then the question is, are we going to go kicking and then avoid it, which makes it way worse and makes it last way longer? Mm-hmm. Or are we going to go through the transition, and it is a transition, of the very first step always is letting go. Mm-hmm. It's letting go. Letting
go, and also understanding the importance of creating a connection, deep, intimate connection with others as we go through these challenging times. And that was kind of the premise of having a network, is like, how can we bring more of the community understanding in that conversation for the importance of that. And as we're all, letting go and understanding, reading the Toronto Life magazine and them talking about, as Toronto is opening, what are we going, we have this opportunity to rebuild.
Reinvent, so rebuild.
What do we need to let go of? What hasn't been working for the whole? And, what do we need to implement in order for the whole to really benefit? Vicky is saying, I wonder why we all feel the purpose to look backwards so much. Yeah, it's almost an addiction. And I mean, there's a benefit to looking back, because in hindsight, we learn more about ourselves, but it's a balance of, looking back, taking that wisdom and taking forward what is good, and then being able to quickly let go of what isn't without judging it. Yeah. And the more we look back, and this is speaking from personal experience, the more we look back and think of all the shoulda, there's absolutely no point. It wastes our energy towards creating the new. And so if you find yourself in that place of
shoulda, woulda, coulda,
you're clinging and you're holding on. And now is the time, if anybody is doing that, speaking from experience, it's time to let it go. It's time to focus forward on the future of what it is that we want to create. The past was something that made us who we are. It gave us a lot of wisdom and knowledge to give us all of the makeup that makes us us, and makes us have this valuable contribution to gift to the world. And I really believe that we all have that something or many things within us that is for this community that is everyone on this planet Earth. And it really is such an incredible time to think that almost everyone on the planet right now is looking at restructuring, whether it's in their own life or for the whole.
Yeah,
and we're all
this is unprecedented.
Everyone, we have this saying, we're all in this together. And I know there's varying opinions about that because of how it's amplified the inequality and all different types of things. But really, we're looking at, how could we make a better planet for everyone?
Yes. And it's because Vicky, your point is really, really a deeply important point, is because science has told us that we can control our environment. So we've been brainwashed since the get-go in the education system that you're here and here's some mechanics of doing so that you can feel in control, and you can actually, you can experience life in this notion of control. And every one of us who actually went through the education system, and then business education, and just whatever it is we took up in terms of education, we all know that's bullshit. We can't control hardly anything. So we keep on hunkering down, and then the only thing we have that's tangible or more tangible is our past. Because in the moment we don't know what's going on, and certainly in the future we have no idea what it is that's coming up. So the only place that we have left to look is in the past. And then the frame of reference we use in the past is saying, woulda, coulda, shoulda, shoulda turned left, shoulda turned right. Why? And so next time when that actually shows up, when there's actually a news report that something's happened in China, and then that's followed very closely by another, something that actually comes up relative to Italy. Okay, so this is the COVID-19 do-over. And by looking in the past, then I'll avoid what it is I did in the COVID-19 in 2020. That's not how it works.
Yeah,
but that's how we've been taught.
We've been conditioned, like, well, in the past this happened, so therefore that same thing will happen. Or like we use our past information to continue to dictate what our future is going to be. And that's where we're all like, no, let go. The world is not a linear line. We've had an episode last summer, the historic precedent really is irrelevant.
Totally.
We're stepping into new science with Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton,
Michael Singer, Dr. Shefali, which is
favorite.
She's just a
who are reminding all of us that the world is this formless space, and we are actually the creators of our reality. So if we're creating from the past, we'll keep perpetuating, and we'll have another COVID-19, right? So it is our opportunity, it's our responsibility to come forward with a fresh, clear slate and rebuild our individual lives and our lives together.
Very much looking forward to doing that, and very much looking forward to future conversations on these topics. And today we wanted to keep this short and tight.
Short and sweet. So to your father and to all
to
others
Dad,
grieving the loss of someone that they love, may you feel just love in your heart for the path forward for yourself.
Good. Nicely said.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Over and out. Oh, I almost fell off the couch.